Goodness. Okay, shout out to Leo and Scorpio apparently, because there's the lion and the scorpion. I almost dropped some cards on the ground. I was like, please no. I haven't recovered from my Mystic Mondays. Still being incomplete. I don't know where those cards went, but hey, it is what it is. Hey everybody, welcome. I have the die out. I'm going to be doing that thing where we let the dice decide what I'm going to do. Fixed signs, cardinal signs, mutable signs, or an element. I'm feeling it today. I'm such a better recorder though than I am like a reader. Like when I'm typing it or writing it, it just flows. Maybe it's my Mercury in Pisces in the 12th house. That's retrograde natally. So whenever I speak, there's a chance that it'll get lost in translation somehow. Anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's doing amazing. We're going to see what sign we get up to, what element we get up to. It's going to be, I was going to say really fun. I hope it's going to be really fun. I don't know. Sometimes they be coming out a certain way. But hey, you know, YOLO. You only live this incarnation once. What is that? You only live this incarnation once. Yoltio? Yolsho or something. I don't know. Ooh, cheetah energy. Okay. I haven't seen the cheetah in a minute. I want to give this a few shuffles. The crow and the scorpion. All right. The alligator and the crow. And the frog and the crow. Crow is there a lot. It's like what's those old like Pepperidge Farms commercials, I think? Like, do you remember when blah blah blah? The crow remembers. Because the crow has always been there. Speaking of crow, I hear them in the morning and I'm so excited. But that's it. They don't stick around. I'm like, where are the crows? I was excited for the crows to come in the fall, but they ain't even really been here. And if they are here, it's like they'll call and then they'll just move on. I'm like, okay, well. And I've been waking up really early for like apparently no reason, but I've been going to bed too. Whenever I go to bed, I wake up, it's been like 4 something, and then I'll get up at like 7 something, and I'll be like, oh, I guess I'll just be up, but then I'll get tired. Oh, I'm rambling today. At least I'm not singing. I was doing that earlier. Okay, so let's see. Let's see who we're working with today. Oh, oh my gosh. Y'all see that? It's the mutable signs again. Part of me almost said, I hope it's not mutable signs, but I didn't want to jinx it. And then it ended up being mutable signs. Okay, I'm just a mutable sign reader. We had that one break for fixed energy. It's fine. I'm going to title this real quick. I'm just going to put mutable signs, assuming that people know what that means. I'm going to get my phone so I can do the timestamps. I'm pretty sure I didn't delete them. So like I don't have to retype all of the signs because I was like, oh, I might as well keep them. Let's see. Oh gosh, no. I've been really sinky today. My mom sent me a video the other day. And what did she say? What did I say? I was like, hey, Mom. I think I texted her out of the blue, maybe. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I was just thinking about you. I was listening to you sing. And I was like, excuse me? What are you talking about? And I was what was I singing? I don't even remember. But I was back here singing, and then I guess she just recorded it from her room. So yeah, it happens sometimes. So how are we doing this today? I'm actually, so this is gonna be a little shorter because today I'm doing Knights and Kings. Why Knights and Kings? Why not Pages and Queens? Okay, so I'll do Knights and Kings for fire and air, and then Pages and Queens for water and earth. And it's gonna be a little sort of, it'll be a piece of the spectrum of that energy, I guess. I don't know. I don't really start these with a plan. Oh, air is the first completed element. I just kind of go with it. I just kind of go with it. I just flow with it. Ooh. The Empress, well, first we start with the Tower. After the Five of Pentacles. I was thinking about the Five of Pentacles earlier. The Five of Pentacles sometimes can be the space. Oh, I'm supposed to be uploading the video right now. It's fine. I'll send it. This is a little bit of, I've been thinking about doing a lot of stuff actually lately. That I'll probably get to or get through. And so, like, if you see a video pop up that's me, like, hey guys, like, if y'all want a yearly forecast reading or personal readings or whatever, then just let me know. I'm not necessarily expecting for anyone to. I'm just going to make myself available. Potentially. I don't know. We'll see. And, like, there's this whole thing. So there's a series of spreads that I started building last year. And after I was a few spreads in, I got the idea to build it out as a sort of curriculum. And that idea has popped back into my head lately. And I think I want to do it, but I don't know how I want to structure it or set it up. Like, it might be once a week or like bi-weekly. I don't know. I don't know. It's all just floating in my brain. Anyway, the Empress, the High Priestess, and the Chariot. After that Tower, oh, the Five of Pentacles. I was thinking about it earlier, and it can be the space of us, sort of like, because it's usually a beggar outside of a church or something like that. But we don't have to be outside of the church. And so usually I get a feeling of like it's us feeling isolated from a place where we should, in theory, be welcome. But in this deck in particular, the Vagabond almost carries this energy of like not asking for help even when we need it. And so with the Tower, that could have been the energy of some ego falling away because we basically we had to do what we had to do to survive. But it puts us in a position maybe to realize that like we can be in a position where we need help or assistance and not be any less powerful. And it's through, I feel like it's also an opportunity to learn to trust, A, to learn to be vulnerable, B, or to be humbled, number 3. But after that, we come into the Empress, the High Priestess, and the Chariot. After that Tower. And this energy, it feels like being led and guided to create something before we even know the purpose behind it. But eventually, one day, it's like we will discover why we made it in the time that we made it. Okay. I don't know what that was, but that happened. Queen of Pentacles, Page of Cups, love it. Um, I need more space. I need more room. Soon. Soon I will have all the space and all the room I desire and require. So last is the Queen of Cups. She's the last one we need. And there she is right there with the Wheel of Fortune behind her, the Nine of Swords preceding her. So Wheel of Fortune going to be sitting at the bottom of the deck, which is Jupiter energy. We are officially in Sagittarius season now, where the South Node is. South Node switched into, oh snap, hold up. I forgot the King of Wands. I forgot about the King of Wands. There's the Queen of, or the King of Cups. Okay, so the King of Wands is after the King of Cups. That's a temperance energy between healing and glory. And then it's that Ten of Swords, the Destroyer, at the bottom of the deck now with the Hangman and the Queen of Swords after. So, I guess we couldn't end on that Wheel of Fortune, but it's still a 10. So, hey, that's cool. All right. Let's move these. So again, this is going to be the spectrum. It's, I don't want to say like lesser evolved and more evolved because the pages and the knights aren't as mature, or at least don't have the position of the kings and queens, especially because I don't know where the energy is at, right? Because there's a lot of newness that is sort of in the air right now. And so a king or a queen may not necessarily be it right now. It may not yet be the time to be fixed in whatever it is we were fixed in. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this 4 shuffles. The top is going to go the top, and then the bottom's going to go the bottom. Ooh, the bat and the earthworm at the cut. Okay. I'm actually going to cut this. Timestamp will be in the description box. Timestamps. Purdue. Bottom of the deck is the Fox. Okay. The Fox, the Ten of Swords. Ooh, what is this? The Five of Wands and the Five of Swords came out. One of these I was thinking about earlier. And we just saw the Vagabond, the Five of Pentacles that was behind the tower. We've seen all the fives except for the Five of Cups. Why was I thinking about these? We can see that they're both kind of sort of all over the place, but one is pointed and can cut, and the other ones can lead to concussions. So either way, it's not great. But there's this lack of clarity and patience, and it's like it's like a hit and a miss. We're swinging in the wrong direction. There's an energy of things being misdirected, anger, mistrust, frustration. There's also an energy of potentially not owning our role in a certain situation with the Father of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. It's like if we can't own our own, like the role that we played, then we're not, then it's like our ability to rise through the ranks is going to be limited. I don't mean to shuffle these off camera. I'm just like trying not to. Oh, the High Priestess with the Six of Pentacles. I feel like that's the energy of like knowing what battles to fight and knowing which battles to not fight and deciding or knowing that it's like how to engage with situations. It's like knowing when a gentler approach could actually get us a lot further. Type of energy. It's very chauvinistic, and there's a lot of bravado. And the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands. But then from the outside, I feel like it just makes people look really childish because it's like you didn't have to use all of that force for like this situation. Like it's not that serious. I don't know. All right, cut there. Oh, okay. Well, now I can't see what these are, but I remember. Okay, well, this one gets two. That's fine. It'd be like that sometimes. Bottom of the deck is the Son of Swords. I almost had the Father. I love the Son of Swords lately. Son of Swords came out recently. It had to be on this channel because I don't think I used these cards on the other channel. Actually, I think I did. A while ago, I don't remember which channel. The Father of Swords came out on this side, right here, and the Mother of Swords came out right here. And the Father of Swords was on this path of newness. It was like the Father of Swords is the one that listens to the Page of Swords. Now, the Father of Swords listening to the Page of Swords, it's kind of sort of an element of curiosity. It's like not necessarily expecting for something to work out, but giving it a try anyway, and then finding out that it actually works. Whereas the Queen of Swords was in this energy of like, that's not going to work. I'm not even going to waste my time. But with the Eight of Pentacles that came right after that, it was the energy of like the webs and the webs that we weave and the tells that we tell ourselves to keep everything within a certain framework, and how restrictive that can be, even if we feel like we're the spider sitting at the middle of the web. Because it's like, the world is a lot bigger than Charlotte's Web. No matter how fantastic Charlotte is at selling Wilbur, it's like, there's more to life than this little farm or whatever. And Wilbur was great, but you know, he's not the only pig in the world, right? But the Son of Wands came out here, where the Son of Wands was almost like before it gets shut down, it was like that part of our brain that's like, well, maybe I could try it. And then it's like, no. Then we shut it right back down. Or somebody in the external environment will. But the Son of Wands was getting something about the masculine energy when it came to that reading and the swords. It's like masculine energy was like right there with the new stuff, whereas the feminine energy sort of wasn't. And I feel like in a mental type of way, there are sometimes, if we like extrapolate a little bit, there are sometimes when we develop in certain ways because of the condition of the world around us, when we realize certain truths that aren't necessarily pretty. Like, let's just talk about it. The wage gap between men and women, right? And so, like, a man's mental scape versus a woman's mental scape, and they're not to be like there are only two genders. let me stop. Okay, but it's like they're different because there's a different set of experiences. There's a different set of concerns. There are different obstacles to navigate, right? It's like, masculine energy and masculine presenting energy can be this, that can be so many things. And feminine presenting energy is kind of sort of stuck in a box. And whenever it acts outside of that box, it gets called names, it gets called bossy or whatever. When in reality, and then it's that question of like, okay, well, if like I were a man or masculine presenting, would I be called bossy or would I just be recognized as the boss? Because this is my position. Hello? Like, are you new here or do you not know what I got hired on to do? Doing it better for a fraction of the pay. But it's kind of sort of what you have to do to sort of navigate that. And so when that is your experience, it's like it leads you to sort of experience things, or it leads you to, again, to just hold certain mindsets. And it could be a lot easier to let those go and to move on and move past it and move forward when that's not an experience that you have any tie to. And so with, this, with air being a masculine sign, then it's like, yeah, masculine energy is like already on to the next thing. And maybe feminine energy, I feel like there comes a sort of a time where we have to relinquish certain things as well. And so I guess it's almost this energy of like moving forward, but I don't know how to describe it, because it's like it's moving forward, but there again, it's like a little bit of hesitation there, right? But also, if that hesitation is perceived and not experienced, because I saw a video earlier, this is how things work, I guess, where it was like this dude was coming out and like it wasn't a big deal to like anybody. And they're like, okay. And he was like, what? Like, I've been hiding this. I've been like, I hated myself and I was trying to do all of this to like become okay with accepting this within myself. And if you don't make this a big deal, then that means that I struggled with this for nothing. And I can't accept that. But maybe it's time for us to accept that things don't have to be as hard as they have been, or as hard as we've made them out to be in general. So I'm getting that kind of sort of energy. But again, that came out on the queen side. And anybody can be a knight. Well, it is the son of wands in this, but hey. uh, yeah. Anyway, it felt like the queen with the son of wands at the bottom of the deck and the fox and the ten of swords. Maybe this is masculine energy returning a fraction of that power to feminine energy. And it's a fraction of power because, they need to be equal. So, excuse me, returning the piece of the power that masculine energy kept feminine energy from discovering, holding, wielding, what have you. So I'm going to timestamp this here and we're going to get into these 23:7. I forgot the zero. So mutable signs. I cannot escape the mutable signs. Hello and welcome to yet another reading for y'alls. If you got Gemini, I almost said Cancer, Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces somewhere in your chart, or if you're curious, then I guess this is for you. At the top of the deck for the water and earth signs, I have the pages at the top. For the earth and fire, for air and fire, sorry. See, this is why I'm better at typing than speaking. For air and fire, tongue-tied. For air and fire, we've got the knights, and then at the bottom is the corresponding queens and kings. Now, take this as it resonates. It could be like lower vibrational, higher vibrational. It could be anywhere along that nodal path from south to north. It could be, it could even come out as like, down here is where we're fixed and up here may be where we need a new perspective. And so I guess I should look at both of them to make sure I know what we're doing before I start talking. I'll just flow with it. I'll just go with it. That's how we do things over here. I'm a Pisces. My name is Patrick, and welcome. Oh gosh. Oh goodness. I'm sorry. Okay. So let's get into this. I'm not using the animal book. So I'm going to take it intuitively and we're going to see what happens. Because some of these animals, I'm a lot less familiar with than others. But I'm a firm believer in we see the things that we need to see in the way that we need to see them to get where we're going. And different signs mean different things to different people, right? Like I could see a butterfly and it means something completely different to me than it would mean to you, than it would mean on the internet, where we kind of sort of standardize the meanings for all things. And right off the bat, it reminds me of a minute ago, I was watching a bunch of videos about Heyokas because it was popping up. And there was someone, because they were talking about like to be a Heyoka, especially traditionally, there's like a dream that you would have. And there are certain elements involved because of Wakinyan, which is the thunder being, thunderbird type of energy. Anyway, and he said that like some people be like, "Oh, I had a dream about a horse," and he was like, "It doesn't matter that you had a dream about. Like the important part of that is like what was the horse doing, right? It's not that you saw a horse. It's like what was the horse doing. It's not that you see this sign. It's like what's the context around it, because sometimes the context around it can help us build the meaning for us, because again, I'm a firm believer that we come across and see the things that we need to see in a way to get us to understand. And again, like what I see and how I take that is not going to be the same. And so that's why personally, whenever like I'm watching a reading or whatever, and someone is like reading the cards, like I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, well, actually that means this. The traditional meaning of that is this. And somebody else said that this is what the meaning of that is. And I'm subscribing to what somebody else said. Now, when it comes to things that were invented, we can go by what the inventor decided. But the person who created the GIF format said that it's pronounced GIF, and people are still like, no, it's GIF, right? It's like when you create something, you have limited control over how it's used and perceived. Because once somebody buys it, once it's in somebody else's hands, they can do whatever they want with it. And maybe for Mutable Signs, it's time for us to get a little bit more creative with what it is that we sort of have in our environment or at our disposal. Maybe it's time to utilize the resources a little more creatively. It's time to color outside the box, because when you're outside the box, you can create whatever you want to create. You're not confined to the space between the lines. Okay. I guess. Watch this be zebra or something. Okay, let's see. Hummingbird. This is interesting because I saw the hummingbird earlier, and I'm about to literally do that thing that I just told everyone to not do. But again, we see the things in the ways that we need to see them, and everything is based upon something, some way, shape, form of understanding. Anyway, the hummingbird to me represents the heart. Shout out to Rustling Around, because he always talks about the hummingbird being, I think, the higher heart frequency. And I actually saw this when I was shuffling earlier, and I was like, oh, well, if I see that card, because that's where I was like, oh, I'm not going to use the book. I was like, oh, well, if I see that card, I guess I'll talk about the heart chakra, or the space of the heart. But it was like the heart of the hummingbird keeps pace with the animal. But there is this theory that all creatures have a set amount of heartbeats. And so if your heart beats a lot faster, then it's like you're burning through those heartbeats and your life is going to be shorter. But if your heart beats slower, it's going to be longer. Because if we look at it as sort of a machine, right? And if we look at the heart as a piece of equipment or something along like a piece of the whole process, then eventually it's going to get worn out. But the heart and the brain are like two of the big players that like pretty much drive the rest in some way, shape, form, or another. Let's see what this is, because that's gonna. Okay, Son of Wands. Okay, well, we are in Sagittarius season, and that could be a sun. It's a dark sun up there. South Node is in Sagittarius right now. Actually, let me look. Let me look and see. Because I wonder how close that new moon Sagittarius is going to be to the South Node. And then where the sun is going to be in correlation to that when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct in Aquarius. Well, that's going to be like what, at the start of Capricorn season? Because I think it's on the winter solstice. So let's see. Hold up. Hold up. What am I looking at? Yeah, it's this. Okay. Let me go back a little bit. Okay, let me go back a little bit more. There we go. That should get us there. So at 11:17 a.m. Eastern Time, US, is where we're going to have that exact full moon, which should be about the time of that total solar eclipse, because that's when they're literally going to be like in the same spot in the sky. Okay, so let's see where the planets are. So Mercury is going to be 20 degrees. Okay, so the south node is going to be 1958 in Sagittarius. Mercury is going to be 25, and then it's going to happen at 23 degrees 8 minutes. So this total solar eclipse is happening roughly 3 degrees away from the south node, but it's beyond the south node. But Mercury is like still right there. And with Mercury being the mind, sometimes our mind can keep us in situations that we're not in anymore. Right. And it becomes that like you can take the prisoner out of prison, but you can't take the prisoner out of the prisoner type of energy. It becomes these things that we kind of sort of hold on to that work its way into us mentally. And it's a very Ten of Swords type of energy. Now, the hummingbird, this could be the space of a new lighter energy coming in through the space of that. I don't know why I wanted to say vortex, but through the space of that eclipse. And it's almost like it makes this nodal, it's a chance to make this nodal cycle easier. Because it's a chance to get some kind of awareness or understanding before the Great Conjunction a week later, before Saturn and Jupiter conjunct in the 0th degree of Aquarius. And I'm curious to see what the cross is at that point in Sabian symbols. And I've done them before. I can't remember if this was like free or like $2, but like there are websites where you can get the Sabian symbols for free, but I wanted to have it in like a little book. So crosses of the Sabian symbols loosen the energy of your astrology. I got it off of the iBooks store or whatever. I don't mean to say or whatever like that. So 0 to 1 Aquarius, or fixed, because it looks at all of them. I'm pretty sure it's the 1st degree. And it's interesting because we had the total solar eclipse, or no, I think it was a partial solar eclipse this summer. It happened in the 0th degree of Cancer. And that's why we got 2 Cancer new moons this year, because the new moon in Cancer happened so early. But that second new moon in Cancer shifted us to having the full moon first in the zodiac season instead of the new moon first, like we were having for a hot minute, you know? So here we go. No, here we go. There we go. So Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, 0 to 1. Taurus is a clear mountain stream. Leo is a case of apoplexy. What is apoplexy? Scorpio is a sightseeing bus, and Aquarius is an old Adobe mission. An old Adobe mission. I think Adobe, like the tribe. Maybe. We'll see. It would be interesting if it is. When confronted with an issue, what are our options? Oh, wow. We could merely continue along our flow, Taurus, with clear conscience. I'll read these one more time because I already forgot. So Taurus is a clear mountain stream. Leo, a case of apoplexy. Scorpio, a sightseeing bus. And Aquarius, an old Adobe mission. So when confronted with an issue, what are our options? We could merely continue along our flow, Taurus, with clear conscience. Similarly, we could observe or witness the issue on our way elsewhere, Scorpio. For those of us who are only meant to witness rather than do, the challenge is allowing life to unfold for others without interfacing in another's soul learning. Scorpio's bus is the blessing that allows sightseeing while restricting the doing. We could respond with outrage, Leo, or use that energy to improve the situation and commit ourselves to doing good, Aquarius. By the way, there is literally an old Adobe mission in Arizona, built in 1933, also called Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Church. Moving around the cross, we begin with a clear conscience, Taurus, or innocence, until we see something, Scorpio, that outrages us, Leo, and decide to do something about it, Aquarius, providing us a sense of direction and inner peace, Taurus, for at least trying. Aquarius's symbol contains a solution to Leo's outrage, giving problems to God. This gives the cross another layer, permission to leave the situation, Taurus and Scorpio, especially for those who get compassion fatigue or burnout from doing good, or those who finally understand their efforts are futile. If we use Leo's apoplexy in the strict medical sense, which is defined as bleeding in the internal organs, then Leo's symbol could be the issue that the rest of the symbols resolve. The metaphysical cause of internal bleeding is that you suffer in silence and don't want anyone to know what you are going through. You feel you have no one to confide in, no one to help you. Bourbeau, 2007, is the citation there. That others do seem to know that you are going through, Scorpio, and that there is metaphysical and practical help for the problem, Aquarius, will eventually help you get to a clear state, Taurus, of natural flow through the body. Now that is interesting because I was just talking about organs, but literally that reminded me of the Five of Pentacles or the Vagabond and the Tower, choosing to suffer in silence rather than to let anyone know what we're going through. Now, since this conjunction is happening on Aquarius, then the energy is the old Adobe mission that we're kind of sort of going to, and we're coming away from that case of apoplexy. But for anything to be resolved, it has to be known. And 2020 was a whole lot of issues that need to be resolved, making themselves known. Now, I guess I've been in the camp of not the Scorpio energy where we're on that sightseeing tour bus and not doing anything. I've been, I guess, in the Aquarius pool of like, let's do something to help out, no matter how big or small, to at least say that we've done our part so we can have that clear conscience with the Taurus. But again, that's only my perspective on everything happening. I'm not claiming to have the right one, and I'm definitely not claiming to have the only one. All I'm saying is that, like, if we're moving into the future, what kind of future do we want to set ourselves up for? Do we want to set ourselves up for a future where everyone continues to dismiss and ignore problems instead of solving them, letting them fester in the dark, swept under the rug? Or do we want to like actually do something to resolve them so we can move forward without that mess just looming around every single corner that we dare not look around? Now, the Knight of Wands could be this energy, and it's interesting that the Knight of Wands is looking forward and the Hummingbird is looking back. Because the Knight of Wands could be the energy of like, that's not my problem, so I don't have to deal with it. Where the Hummingbird is that like, it's that open-hearted, that caring, that compassionate, like, I'll be there if you need me. But again, the Hummingbird could get exhausted and it could shorten its own life by sort of like giving too much. It's that burnout or that fatigue. It's that stress. It's like us getting stressed out and fatiguing our own bodies because we're so wrapped up in other people's stuff. And I feel like the solution here is to have a balance between the two energies. And temperance, even though it's signifying, it's anchoring in mutable energy, it's just a significator, but it is temperance. And then here's the Son of Swords. So again, the Knights of Swords and Wands pop up twice, but the Knight of Swords is looking in a different direction than the Knight of Wands. The Fox is facing in the same direction, and then the Ten of Swords is here. It's like the only way we really escape ruin is together. And so continuing to be self-serving, that's where the South Node is right now. Thinking that we can continue to not really pour into anything, but continue to reap something, I don't know if that's necessarily going to work out for us anymore. I was just going to pick myself, but since this die is so fond of the number 3, then we will let this one decide, because that's how I feel like doing it today. Fortuna, we'll let fortune decide. So first, number 4, Pisces. And now the 4 comes out. I've rolled this thing. We'll call this the 5th time I've rolled this. First 3 times was the number 3 for the mutables. 4th time was 2 for fixed. Now it's 4. And I'm like, okay. But hey, that's why I let the dice decide. And I already decided before I started, because I guess I had a feeling that this would happen, that if I get the same number multiple times, I'll just continue to read it. So I can't be upset right now that that's actually the case and that that's what's happening. Like I shouldn't be, but that doesn't stop me from rolling my eyes, does it? 43:17. So Pisces, let's get into this for you. We're actually going to start with the animal. Ooh. Wow, this is High Priestess energy, so strong. So strong. The Queen of Cups is pre-High Priestess energy. The White Tiger in Wild Unknown, she's the High Priestess in the Wild Unknown Tarot. Girl, if this is the High Priestess right here, I'm a flip. This is so strong, High Priestess energy. I feel like Pisces is tapped into something, and Pisces, it's like Pisces knows, but it almost also feels like Pisces is in an energy of not doing anything, because it reminds me of when it said, let me go back to it, because it said something about like not interfering with someone else's soul lessons or something like that. Here it is. For those of us who are only meant to witness rather than do, the challenge is allowing life to unfold for others without interfering in another soul learning. Now, if we go by element, Pisces would be on that sightseeing tour bus, where it's not necessarily involved, it sees from the outside. And it's not that Pisces doesn't have its own role to play, but if we think about it, it's like we're transitioning out of the age of Pisces energy and into the age of Aquarius energy. And the age of Pisces energy, I feel like could be really altruistic. I'm pretty sure that's the word that I want, but I'll confirm. Hey Siri, define altruistic. If Siri says altruism, I'll flip.
1 sec.
Psych, Siri said, no thank you.
Still working.
Oh. Pisces, patience. We're learning patience, Pisces. It'll work itself
Something
out.
went wrong. Please try again.
Of course it went wrong. Hey Siri, define altruism. Then I use the word.
1 sec.
Trying not to use the word. It's not working. I think that's the word I want. But it's about everyone playing their own part. Everyone going through, it's like everyone reaching the point where they decide that they want better, where they decide that what we had wasn't working and that we're actually going to do better. I feel like sometimes as people, it's like we realize that something doesn't work, but we don't do anything to fix it. It's like we continue to go along with it, but we complain about it. And then when we're presented with something that could be a solution, we don't actually take it. And it becomes like this almost lose-lose type game. And so that's interesting. Now the tiger for me, it just so happens to be a white tiger, but the tiger for me is more powerful than the lion, but it has to have that element of grace to, it's like it has this understanding of, but like when the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands came out, it's like it has this understanding that not every fight is worth fighting. Now a lion will go out there and defend its pride all day long, but it's like it's for tiger energy to know like what actually isn't really, it's not knowing what's not worth it, it's like knowing what's not worth your energy or effort. And it's not that what's happening isn't worth your energy or effort, but again, then it goes back to knowing when it's like the whole collective is in a space of doing some soul learning right now. And whether we're going to decide to come together to create a world that we can all live in, or whether we're going to continue to hold on to the belief that the world is out to get us. And that's the Queen of Swords earlier with that the Eight of Pentacles, the spider at the middle of the web. It's like so many of us can hold and adopt this mentality that like the government doesn't care about us and other people don't care about us and big corporations don't care about us. It's all about money and it's all about control and it's all about this. And so we create this narrative, we create this web where literally anything with a position of authority over us is out to get us, and none of it serves us. And again, like with the Son of Swords, which is the out from that energy, if we decide that we don't want to continue to reinforce that, it's coming into a place in a position where we allow that to not be true. Because maybe we actively do something different. But again, I feel like the Piscean way of handling things, it's like it's on its way out. So maybe that's why Pisces is sitting in more of this tiger energy. And it's up for Aquarian energy to sort of shine. But Aquarian energy is like it's collective. That's everyone doing their part. And it's not just a few people in spiritual positions trying to do all the work, because that doesn't work. But again, it's a choice that we all make as a collective. So we'll see. And oh, I love this. The tiger and the lion. Well, what did I just say? What did I just say about the tiger and the lion? So yeah, this is See, I don't even feel comfortable calling this less aligned or like lower vibration frequency or something like that. I don't feel comfortable saying that because honestly, I feel like the biggest thing here is balance between the two. And so there's this element where we have to allow things to kind of sort of play out and evolve in their own time. There's also this energy here with the high priestess and with this tiger of like knowing and seeing with the moon on the third eye. It's like knowing and seeing the greater potential of a situation, but needing to come into a certain trust, because even if we know the outcome, we don't know the whole road and we don't know the complexities of life, no matter how intuitive or connected you are. And it's very much an energy of like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But we don't know the ramifications and consequences of our actions, right? It's that like this a person leaves a pencil somewhere and then someone comes to pick it up, and when they bend down to pick it up, someone behind them, like they're not paying attention, and then they bump into them and it pushes them into traffic or something like that, right? But they don't get hit. The person driving swerves and I don't know, runs into a building, and everyone is fine because I'm not going to give an example where somebody dies, but now there's damage to the store. And it's like, well, you know, maybe we thought we were doing somebody with a favor by putting a pencil there as a reminder, but there's a need to look at the bigger picture. There's a need to accept that we don't understand everything, no matter how much we claim to know or think we know. And so, yeah. I mean, well, here's the lion that I was just talking about. So I feel like, okay, this is older Piscean energy. This is an energy of projection, but it's an energy of overlay where we overlay one thing on top of another. So it changes the sense of sight, but it doesn't change anything else. It doesn't change what it sounds like. It doesn't change what it tastes like. It doesn't change what it smells like. It's still there. You can just kind of sort of close your eyes. And this energy up here is about doing something to actually make this a reality and not to just overlay it on top of reality and pretend as if it is. And it's interesting because I talked about this on the other channel yesterday or the day before with that overlaying on top of something else instead of doing the work to actually make it a reality. But again, on this axis and on this spectrum, it's a need to what is this? It's like to do your part but not do too much. Like don't overdo it type of energy. But we still have to do our part, right? And it's like sometimes on the board we can see how all the other pieces move, but we don't necessarily see how it is that we're supposed to move because our life is for us to live. And that's the energy of like how sometimes we can give advice than how we live our own lives. Because just because you know doesn't mean that it makes the doing of it any different. And that's actually something that I can appreciate or find appreciation for sometimes when talking about my experiences and giving someone advice based off of my experiences. And I try to be like, well, this is what happened for me. I don't know if it'll work for you because, you know, you're a different person. But it's like in those moments, sometimes we hear ourselves say things that are the truths that we believe in. even when it may be sort of hard for us to find, if that makes any sense. Because it's like when it comes to someone else, it comes more effortlessly and naturally. But when it's us, it's like it's something that we can't necessarily see. But anyway, for Pisces, it's this need to go back and forth between the lion and the tiger. And the bear, oh my. I was seeing the bear all day today. Now here's the lion and the tiger and the bear. Now the bear may be on the table somewhere because, like I said, I've been seeing it all day today. But anyway, that's what I got. And let's look at the tarot cards. We got the Six of Wands, victory. That's Eye of the Tiger. Oh, duh, Eye of the Tiger. Okay, I'm loving Piscean energy. I've just been so connected lately. And the Six of Swords. Look at this. It's beautiful for Pisces either way. Oh, Pisces got 2 cards. I'm glad I picked it up because I would not have remembered that. Oh, the Daughter of Cups. So there's the Page of Cups again. And I feel like the Page of Cups again coming out at the end with the rainbow shadow on the water. It's re-clarifying the fact that, like, between the daughter and the queen, we need this integration of both. We got to know when to hold them and when to fight them. What it's like, it's this energy. I know I literally just said that we're not doing this, but we all have a part to play. And sometimes our part is to leave the pencil somewhere, because a Uranus transit, and it's transiting Taurus, so maybe this is actually applicable. A Uranus transit adds a certain element, so it's going to be what, like, is it still good? I think Uranus is still retrograde right now. So Uranus was moving forward, but it's retrograde right now, so it's actually getting closer and closer and closer to forming a more exact square with Jupiter and Saturn when they enter Aquarius. Now, it was like closer to 8 or 9 degrees maybe, but now it's like 7 degrees in 7 minutes. It's going to be 7 degrees in 7 minutes on that day. No, this is the 14th. Let me go forward to the 21st, because it may be even closer. The moon is going to be in Pisces. Neptune is in Pisces. Oh, wow, 028. So yeah, it's the 1st degree, 28 minutes. Not even half a minute into Aquarius, and they're conjuncting. That's cute. The sun is going to be 0 degrees Capricorn. Mercury is going to be 1 degree Capricorn. Venus is going to be in Sag. Uranus is going to be 6 degrees and 57 minutes Taurus. So Uranus, like I said, is getting closer and closer. It's not going to be an exact square, but it's getting closer and closer to, it's like it's playing a larger and larger role, but it's in an unexpected way, unforeseen way, because Uranus is like that. She never does it the way that you would expect for her to do it, because that's too predictable, and she's not about predictable, right? It's like, oh, if you saw me coming, then I wasn't doing something right. And not only am I going to, like, redirect, but also in the first place, that was a diversion. You really thought you saw me coming. You'll never see it coming, right? But anyway, it's like that accident that wrecks that person's store. It's like, let's say that they had some things in that store that needed to be replaced, but that they could just not afford. But that accident is covered by insurance. So now they have the funds and the ability to renovate and to update and to make magic out of that tragic thing, to make something magic out of an occurrence that could have been viewed as tragic. And so again, it's like, it's this, like, you never know type of energy. And we all have a part and a role to play. And it's also interesting because this is a boat, right? And it was that sightseeing tour bus. And so those are the two, well, I guess Taurus did talk about an actual stream. It's not a boat here, but usually it's a boat. It's sailing on to calmer waters. And a bus is another vehicle, right? Now the road is the water. And for Pisces, being a water element, I feel like it's also this space of learning to navigate obligation. And again, it's balancing. It's balancing between like the things that we stand up and do and the times where we have a voice and the times where we're silent and we allow someone else to come to that conclusion. Because sometimes it's the process of coming to that conclusion that's a lot more important than actually getting the right answer. Most of the time, it's the process that's more important than getting the right answer, because we come across unknowns all the time in life. But if we know how to approach something unknown, and if we have the experience of that working out, it puts us in a position where we can trust more, where we allow it to unfold more, and where we get blessed more, because we don't need as much control. There's a lot less restriction. So I feel like I rambled for Pisces. I feel like this is going to be a really long video, and that was not necessarily the intention, but hey, I ain't gonna complain. I'm just gonna go with it. That's what I got for Pisces. I just think it was so interesting that I'm talking about the tiger versus the lion, and then the lion came out. But again, the theme here today seems to be balance and integration within self. And it's interesting for mutable signs because I think it came out for Gemini one day, and I was like, Gemini needs to be like all of the better of its individual aspects, but like all at once. And so far, I've only done one of them. But it's seeming like the same is going to be true for the rest of the mutable signs. But it's like this is where mutable signs kind of sort of shine. This is why we have that ability to be mutable in the first place. Next is number 4 again. Nope, number 1. Next is number 1, Sagittarius. So again, Jupiter is coming out first, and then we'll go to the Mercury ruled ones. Interesting. I'll try to be nice today. I say that every time. 1:01:59. Almost 102 Sagittarius. Almost, but not quite. Anyway, well, 1159, that's 16, which is a 7 as compared to a 3. So a 7 compared to a 3, to me, that reads as there's a little bit more work that still needs to be done before the pieces come together within self in a way where we can really contribute in a group setting, right? It's almost time for us to put into practice what we preach and to test our own theory before we just like sort of put it out there. Because there are a lot of things that sound good in theory, but in reality, things are never that nice. And it's not until we test theory that we can improve it to get it to more and more and more accurately represent life. So I'm going to start up here for Sagittarius. Don't ask me why. I'm just going to do it. Oh. Well, 5 of Swords. Sagittarius is not making this easy. I'm just playing. It is interesting, though, because, you know, Sagittarius got the 5 of Swords. Pisces got the 6. I am actually going to flip these back over. I just forgot to do that. Don't ask me why. Sagittarius, those are the cards from Pisces that you see. If you're so curious or interested, you can watch it. But anyway, it's interesting that Sagittarius is coming out with the 5 of Swords. And I talked about the 5 of Swords earlier. Now, the Sun, the Moon, and the South Node are all going to be in Sagittarius. And unfortunately for me, it feels like as in a person outside of Sagittarian energy, but Sagittarius is my North Node. So it's the space I'm supposed to, like, this is my anti-node year. My North Node is in Sagittarius. My South Node is in Gemini. But right now, the transiting North Node is in Gemini, and the South Node is in Sagittarius. So it's a very like against the stream type of year for me. And personally, in my life, this year has been me, in a lot of ways, doing things and reaching points that I didn't think I would ever do, or that were like out of reach for so long. right? And it's almost like, well, I was already headed in that direction because again, that's my north node when it flipped and went south. And so it's like it's gonna meet me, and I can theoretically take the information from where I've been based off of where I'm going. When we meet halfway, I can tell you about where I've been before you get there. If you're wise, I don't want to say if you're wise, you'll listen. But I mean, yeah, if you're wise, you'll listen. And listening does not always mean agreeing, but you'll hear me out. At least, right? Or not. Because with the Five of Swords, it's probably not. But anyway, Five of Swords is Aquarian energy. Six of Swords was too. So Leo was, oh, what was Leo? Leo was the outrage. I remember they kept saying the outrage at Leo. It wasn't the mission. It wasn't the sightseeing tour bus. It wasn't the clear stream. I don't remember what Leo was. Let's see. Leo was, oh yeah, a case of apoplexy. Hey Siri, define apoplexy. Was that like internal bleeding? That's what it seemed like.
1 moment. Apoplexy is a dated term. It means unconsciousness or incapacity resulting from a cerebral hemorrhage or stroke.
Ooh. Incapacity or speechlessness caused by extreme anger. Ooh, Sagittarius. And it's dated. I love it said that this noun is dated. Everything about this is outdated. But that's the thing about Sagittarian energy. Again, especially from the outside, it's like Sagittarius is I feel like it's one of the most fixed energies, even though it's mutable. It's one of the most fixed energies. It's almost like an air sign, but it's like it's stale, and it's like it's stuffy, and it's like the window has never been open, and this building is very old, and it only blows in one direction. And so there's no circulation either. It's like, man, at least if we got some circulation, maybe it would feel like something. It dries it out. That's what it does. That's what it feels like, desiccation. And I feel like I should define that, but I'll just define it. Hey Siri, define desiccate.
Remove the moisture from something, especially food, typically in order to preserve it.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear the remaining one?
Yes.
Lacking interest, passion, or energy.
Lacking interest, passion, or energy, which is interesting because it's supposed to be the Knight of Wands. But yeah, it's that desiccation. And it's like whenever you're drying something, if you force the air to move, it'll dry it like quicker than if like it's just sitting there. And it removes the moisture from the surface, especially like if it's only open up top. And so what happens is the water from the bottom, as water is removed and evaporated off the top, it'll move up until it's dry. And this energy, it's very dry because it's like mentally it's locked. And it doesn't have to be that way. But what's interesting is like when we were in the age of Pisces and when that energy didn't really work out, that Jupiter co-rulership, it's almost like, I mean, honestly, it relied on Sagittarian energy, right? It's like Sagittarius took the information from Pisces and made like religions out of it. It made like organized thought. And it's like it took out all of the water of Pisces. It took out the exploration, it took out the connection, it took out the depth of knowing for self. And instead, it replaced it with figureheads and people to look up to. Okay. And then here's the Eight of Wands, which is that awakening. that comes from that open mind, that comes from listening, that comes from being guided, and it comes from flowing. Now, these are two energies that are not going to be that easy to balance. And I honestly feel like, I know I say this a lot, and people probably think I have it out for Sagittariuses, and it's fine because I'm going to speak how, what I'm going to speak what it is. It's like you can't hold both of these at the same time. Like you can't listen with only one ear. And this is Sagittarian energy. This is the first decan of Sagittarius. And then that's the first decan of Aquarius. Now, Sagittarius and Aquarius sextile. So there is opportunity there. But again, it's like with the South Node in Sagittarius, South Node in that Temperance, South Node in that Wheel of Fortune energy. It's like things aren't just happening. And I feel like sometimes for Sagittarius, and again, going back to that whole coming out story that I talked about earlier, it's like sometimes we carry something for so long and we get so good at it. It's like, well, do I really want to let this go? Because I've spent so much time like mastering this and I've made so many choices and decisions for my life. Like Sagittarius is that energy of like, I've dedicated my life to this. And now one day it's just wrong? No, that's not acceptable. Because if I accept that, what have I done all of this for? What have I dedicated my life to for it to all of a sudden one day be invalidated? And it's like, well, you have more to lose by being stuck than you would by being flexible. And I feel like there's something that you can take. I know it is interesting that like Sagittarius can be like that freedom and all of this, but again, it can be one of the most fixed signs. It can be one of the most inflexible. And as they can have tempers too. We can all have tempers. But whatever the new direction is, it's reading like the new direction is the good direction. If I were to read this in another way, or if I were to read this in a more balanced way, or coming out of that South Node type of way, moving closer to that Gemini North Node, fire, air. I feel like this is practice. This, if we more positively align this, the Five of Swords up here would be taking this Eight of Wands information. And again, it's instead of like theorizing about it, instead of going to your whiteboard, your blackboard, your chalkboard, your whatever board, your e-board, it's like actually putting it into practice, taking it out in real life, doing a field test, a field survey, and seeing if it works in real life. And maybe that's what this is. And because whatever this is, it's like it works in real life. It's almost like it makes it easier to accept at the same time. Because it's almost like if we can see this working in real life, then whatever passion that we feel like would die from us leaving whatever it is that we dedicated ourselves to, it's like we would find a new interest. It's almost like whatever this is, it offers us an ability to elevate our understanding and to actually take this even further. But in order to do that, first we have to admit that we got to admit whatever we got to admit to self. Okay? I ain't nobody therapist. I said we should also get therapy. Oh, well, look, there's the owl. Owls symbolize that wisdom. They symbolize knowledge. They also have very, very keen eyesight. They're very precise. They see in the dark. They can rotate their heads 360 degrees, which is getting that complete understanding. And it's not singular focus and vision, right? Going back to the age of Pisces, Sagittarian energy rules like popes and pastors and like religious figures. And, especially back in the day, it was a whole lot of things, atrocities committed because of religious differences. And if we kind of sort of look at it, we haven't necessarily come as far as we would like to think, especially in this country, where we like to attack certain people for their faith sometimes. Even though I don't know if anywhere in anyone's book, especially the good old, I don't got to get all the way into it, but like if we take a WWJD approach, I don't think Jay would want you to like go out there and discriminate against, harm, injure, make the lives harder of other people. I feel like that's kind of sort of very much what he wasn't about, actually. But then again, for a lot of people, it's never actually been about that. It's about confirmation biases to your own biases or our own biases, because we can be like that. Even if, like, contextually and, like, according to what we subscribe to, it's actually, like, infactual information. But again, that could be Sagittarian energy. It will rule it as an outlier. It's like, oh, well, it actually meant this, or it wasn't talking about that, or I don't know. It's the shadow of Sagittarian energy, I should say. And we all have our shadow energies, and we're all integrating and healing and aligning and realigning. So up here, oh my gosh, is the otter in reverse. I don't think I have any cards in reverse in this deck, but here's the otter in reverse. I mean, if the otter is the element of play, yeah, there's no joy here. It's desiccated, it's dry, it doesn't serve. There's no otter, element of water. There's no water, desiccation. The air is evaporated it all away. And it's like the air is so dry that even that little bit of water didn't change this energy at all. But again, if we take that to a higher aspect, it's about going out there into the world and actually putting it into practice. It's putting it into play. It's putting it into motion instead of just sitting down somewhere and thinking about it to the point where we're not actually doing anything. So Sagittarius is supposed to be out there as the sextile to Aquarius, but Pisces is right next door. So no. As the sextile to Aquarius, Sagittarius should, I don't know, maybe be out there doing something in that Adobe mission. And again, it's interesting because the missions are based in a lot of that religious, they're based in those religious sort of backgrounds, right? It was the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Catholic Church or something like that. But that's taking that energy. Now, missionary work is interesting because of everything it symbolizes, but it can be us taking our background and our knowledge out in the world and using it in a way that emphasizes the love part of it and really shows it in the unconditionality of it instead of like the conforming of it. But yeah, I think for Sagittarius, it's all about putting it in play and putting it in motion because it's going to broaden your perspectives, your horizons, and your understanding. It's going to deepen your understanding to a level much deeper than theory alone will take you. And again, I feel like there's a need to face a lot of confirmation bias because the sun and the moon are going to be right there with Sagittarius. And it could be really easy to be like, well, look, see, this is working out. It's working. But that's kind of sort of how confirmation bias works. I don't know. It's just like Sagittarius. Sagittarian energy could do better. And the spotlight is on Sagittarian energy and Gemini energy right now because that's where the nodes are. And that's where the collective is moving. But yeah, I feel like this season, it is an opportunity for rebirth for Sagittarius. And I'm seeing that like with the otter, it's like coming out of the dark, being in that, like the otter being the light in the space of this darkness. And I think I said that. It was like in the beginning before I like went in, I guess. It was like if Sagittarius is like could get it right It's like before we even reach the halfway point, because the nodes are going to be what, like 19 degrees, not even 15 degrees yet. Already significant progress to be made could be made in a way that eases a lot of things. And it's like, in some ways, it has the potential to cause the greatest shifts because that's where the South Node is. And so it's like if Sagittarian energy can get it together, then it makes it a lot easier for the rest of the collective to move in those ways that they need to shift from Sagittarius to Gemini, or from lower Sagittarius to more awakened Sagittarius. And it's awakened because it taps more into the Piscean side of Jupiter. And when Sagittarius taps into Pisces, Sagittarius can do something that Pisces can't do, which is make that understandable, which is frame it in a way that people actually understand it. And that was like one of the beautiful things about organized and structured religion, is that, or it could have been, it is, that it spreads that message of love, and that like you're not alone, and that there is this higher power that is very much real and is invested in you and wants you to do well and like be happy and stuff, but also understands that sometimes, you know, we got to do life things, and life things aren't always great or pretty or easy. But it made all that spiritual stuff, it put it in text. And then it taught people how to read the text. And even the people who couldn't read the text, we have the stained glass windows, we have tarot cards, right? According to what I read, the tarot was around before Italy. And it's like to make it acceptable, or to make it so that, you know, the Catholic Church, because it was big at the time and it was basically the center of power, to make it where the Catholic Church wouldn't sort of demonize it and label it as a cult as badly as it did literally everything else. Or maybe that was more Judeo-Christianity. It did that. They put religious imagery on it to make it more palatable. So now you have your angels, and you have your stained glass windows, and you have, like, you know, all of that stuff. It integrated Catholicism and the images again to make it more acceptable. And also maybe to put it in a framework that people had a context to understand at the same time. But that's what Sagittarian energy has the ability to do. But yeah, I don't know. What do I know? I'm not a Sagittarius. I'm not a nothing. I'm just me. I'm just Patrick. Okay, I say it how I sees it, and how it comes to me. So next, we're gonna move on. This would be so interesting if it gives me either a 2 or a 3. Oh, well, look at that. Number 2. What's extremely interesting is that it didn't give me the number 3, the number that it always gives me. So Gemini will be next, and then we'll hit Virgo last. I think it worked out similarly, but maybe I started with Sagittarius, and then I did Pisces, and then Virgo, and then Gemini. Yeah, because it cut off at Virgo last time. I remember that. So Gemini, cricket, where's y'all at? 1:23:36. Gemini, hello, and welcome back to what's going on with the Mutable Signs, because I'm a mutable channel now, apparently. Let me get over it. Maybe you need to get over something, Gemini. I'm just playing. Oh, I won't put... I need some water. I won't put that on y'all. Gemini, let's just get right into it. Honestly, for Gemini, we're just going to put all the cards on the table, and then we're going to look at them afterwards, okay? Because that's how I'm feeling it for you, Gemini. We're just, oh my gosh, we're just going to lay everything out. Well, here's the 5 of Wands. And the lizard. I saw a dolphin for a split second. I really thought it was a dolphin. And I was like, oh, because like they got the 5 of Swords and the otter, and Gemini got the 5 of Wands and the dolphin, but it's a lizard. So, you know. Not that lizards aren't cool. So here's the Five of Wands, and here's the Four of Pentacles. Here's the Peacock. Here is the Lizard. Now, what's interesting is it seems like Gemini is not on the same page. Seems like Gemini isn't on the same page as like the other pole of its energy, because everything up here is sort of like what, eastward focused. Actually, that is the direction of east. This is the direction. Hold up, wait, no. Facing me, I'm the direction of west. That is the southward direction. That's south. This is north. North, south. For me, it's flipped on the camera. Actually, wait. No, it's not. Yeah, north. This is north. This is south. I'm not using OBS, so it's not flipped. North, south. This is west. That's east. So up here, everything is facing southward. Here, everything is facing north. So it's like on one aspect, maybe your higher self is more focused on the elements where you need to grow, and you may be a little bit more concerned with where you've come from. It feels like there's like a fear of abandonment like all over this, but it also feels like what you're holding on to isn't great or not great for you. Right. And I say that because the Four of Wands is down here. I think this is more of a fear, though, which is interesting because I don't think fear comes from here. But fear can be a device for soul growth and for lessons and for liberating certain parts of self. The overcoming of that fear, I should say, more than fear. It's the overcoming of that, where the lesson is. But down here, it's a lack of focus. It really does feel like it's like Gemini is keeping itself in a certain situation because it's comfortable. It's like the lizard laying out in the sun because it's afraid that it doesn't have any fire within itself to keep itself warm. And so because of that, it's like instead of all eyes being on the peacock and all of the peacock's eyes, it's like the peacock has all of its eyes on something else. But it's like only the two. It's not even like flared up. It really feels like, and this attachment is like it's getting Gemini to play small. I feel like things were really good for Gemini, which is fine. But I remember this like every time I read for Gemini. I remember the two towers. And it's like Gemini was going to be going through one tower where it feels like they lose a lot. But what it's actually doing is it's creating space for that second thing to come in and to have a place. Now, if we've been avoiding towers, I'm just going to go see where the tower is for Gemini because I want y'all to do well. I love Geminis. Gemini cricket. What is that? This soul Ruby right here. Oh, the sun and the moon aren't together anymore. They were together for a while. There's the tower. Yeah, it's the Fool and the Mother of Cups. Could be a Pisces. And I only say Pisces because Pisces got the Tiger. Well, there's the Daughter of Cups. Here's the Mother. And I was talking about this being Minor High Priestess energy. Anyway. Oh, Queen of Cups. Mother of Cups. Yeah, it's the same energy. So both of these birds, and again, it's like if you're trying to prevent a tower, or if you're not allowing a tower to fall in your life, what you're actually doing is it seems like you're preventing yourself from being in a position to accept what it is that would actually fulfill you. And it's like, here's you And here's the you that you could be sitting on the other side. It reminds me of the adventure card that came out yesterday. And it was all about, like, whenever it comes to our higher selves or our future selves or anything that exists beyond dimension, we can't do a halfway thing, right? It's like if your mirror is like across, like if your mirror is not directly in front of you, like you can't get halfway to the mirror, not make that turn and expect to see a reflection, right? So like whenever we're dealing with this higher, lower, interdimensional, whatever, past, present, future, we have to go all the way. You can't go halfway because the other thing, it's not going to cross that dimensional, that time barrier. It doesn't have the ability to. That's not how it works. I don't want to say it doesn't have the ability to. That's just not how it works. And so if you want it, you have to meet it there. You have to go all the way, and you have to it's like let the chips fall where they may. It feels like a very sort of stally type of energy. And it also feels like maybe Gemini is projecting something onto someone that does not deserve it. And again, it's not that they don't necessarily deserve it. It's just like it's not that. But the lizard is just so like it's basking in that. This also feels like an energy of lots of self-deception. Because again, it's like the peacock has its eyes on whatever instead of it presenting and all eyes being on the peacock. And so peacock energy in this deck, it's all about inner beauty that radiates outward. But it's like if we don't tend to that fire within self, then how is it supposed to do anything? And it's like Gemini you really need to tend to self, because it's like just like we have to make it all the way to the mirror to see our reflection, there are things that other people can't do. Like somebody else can't self-love into you. But what it will create is a dependence on that person to validate you for you to feel loved, when you're supposed to have discovered that within self for self and allow that to radiate outward. But it's like as long as you wander, you will be lost. And I feel like you don't have to be. This is interesting. Like, and again, I did say I was like, it's quite early here, and that was like not even within the span of this. So if you didn't see it, you wouldn't even know. Right? If I weren't telling you this right now, you would have no idea that I actually said that unless you watched it. And maybe you're in a type of situation where that's the case. But it's like I really thought that this was going to be like going a certain way, and it kind of did here. And then I kind of sort of encouraged it, but here it's like I don't know, it feels kind of defeated. And it feels like we're offering all of something to somebody else. Again, like it's like to validate us or to make us feel something that we need to be coming into for self. But lizards can also represent change. They also represent regrowth and healing, right? Because there are certain lizards, if you cut off the tail, it'll grow back. And like they shed their skin, they molt, but again, they are cold-blooded, and so they can form dependencies on heat sources to stay warm. But it's like with peacock energy at the bottom, it's like you have everything that you need inside of you. And so what this kind of sort of feels like, I don't necessarily like saying this, but it feels like things that are lining up to show you how great you are within self, or to provide you with the opportunity to stand up for yourself, or provide you the opportunity to be strong in self and to begin to see what is within you to the point where you won't need or rely or have to rely on other people to validate that for you. Or do you successfully avoid this tower and it's like that's your life, where you're constantly needing something or someone else to validate you. And whenever you don't feel that validation, you spiral. And then it's like it almost puts this unfair pressure on other people as well to continuously and constantly be something for you that you honestly need to be for self. Because we're humans, right? We're not perfect and we can't always be there. You know, sometimes things are going on in our own lives, and so we can't necessarily be there as much as we would like to for everyone else because we have to take care of self to make sure that we're in a position to be there for the people that we care about. And we have to make sure that we're in the right space to be there for the people that we care about, and right, to really pour into others, we have to pour into self. Now this could be flipped and reversed, where, well, if it's flipped in reverse, it almost feels a little vampiric, because then it's like someone that's like leeching, not leeching, but it's like they've latched onto your light, and it's like they're continuously like pulling this out of you and maybe not giving you the opportunity to refill or to take care of your refuel or to take care of yourself or to pour into self, because it's like whenever you do, then things escalate with them to the point where you can't even do what you need to do for you. And then down here, it would be again, it's like you not caring for you because you're so focused on and so available to be everything for everybody else. And it's like down here, it's like you can't continue to neglect self. Or again, you could avoid this tower moment, and then that's your life. That's the pattern that you kind of sort of choose to get stuck with. And it feels like there's more calling to you from the other side of the tower. It's like there's something that you know you have to do. And either you'll do it or you won't. It's a little rough for Gemini energy. Um, I guess Gemini energy doesn't necessarily get it any easier being the North Node, because now it's like, well, you have to be the example, I guess, of what to do. We'll just put this here, why not? You have to be the example of what to do, where Sagittarius has to be the example of learning to like modify or to grow or to, evolve, to come up with that new iteration, with that point two, Either way, I guess it's not necessarily easy, but maybe that's why y'all came out with the kings and the knights, right? Because for y'all's, it's all about action, and it's about setting that example. For over here, I feel like this is more of a cushioning energy. It's like it eases and soothes. It's like it's an anti-inflammatory type of thing, so that things don't get inflamed. It's an I can't even say it. It keeps things from getting infected. Okay, antiseptic is what I want to say, but I don't know if that's necessarily the word I want. But that's why this is like queen energy, right? It's like this is more supporting role. This is more of the people. This is more interacting with, facing, dealing with the world. And this is like maintaining what's within that world, right? So it's like over here, this would be like, where we're doing things where we give back to the earth, where we're not killing the planet, because if we don't have a planet to live on, we don't have a planet to live on. And right now we've nowhere to go. This over here would be the energy of like, tending to intersectional, intercommunal sort of issues, and like creating harmony and establishing peace within the people on the planet. This is making sure we actually have a planet to live on in the first place. Because one without the other kind of sort of leads to a not great situation. And if we don't do either, then it's really not great. But anyway, yeah. All the best, Gemini. All of the best. Actually, I'm going to pull Gemini, Wisdom of Lord Ganesha card. Now, I love the deck. I love the Wisdom of Lord Ganesha. Lord Ganesha is my go-to whenever I'm like, I don't know what to say, and I don't want to leave it like that, so please help me out. I love this deck. I love Ganesha. High key. All right. Let's see. Is it this one? Yes. Oh, wait. Hold up. Oh, yeah. I think it is this one. Hold up. Wait. Hold up. No, I don't think it was. It's this one. Oh, I would have pulled up the wrong deck, Gemini. It's a good thing I really was like, hold up. Wait. Am I sure about this? Let's see. Let's go. I don't know what that is. Oh, I need to shuffle this the other way because I really don't want to bring these cards. I don't want them to bend and bow. Well, it's better to bend and bow than break. And maybe that's another thing for Gemini. It's better to bend and bow than it is to break. Okay, for Gemini, can I get one of these? Oh, I kind of want to pick one. I'll give this 3, and if nothing comes out, then I'll pick one. Because I really feel like picking 2 more. 1 more. Final one. This one is sticking out. We have Embrace, number 11. I do kind of still want to pick one, though, because that one was sticking out. And number 38, which is another 11, Nurture. Embrace and Nurture. This is interesting. Bottom of the deck is Relaxation, 49. So y'all got Embrace and Nurture. Now, these are 2 very kind, very compassionate energies. And so I guess to preface this, it's like, whenever we like learn healthy boundaries and whenever we learn to not give so much to other people, I feel like it's equally important for us to remember to still be there for people, right? Like, healthy boundaries and us being there for us doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not doing anything for anybody. It's all about balance. Embrace. It's believe in yourself and others to discover a deeper importance to your being. Recognize that your interactions with others are important. Healthy relationships require a lot of work to maintain them. In many parts of the world, hugging is recognized as a familiar kind of greeting, in addition to being a manner of acknowledgement or support and reassurance for someone else. Ganesha is encouraging you to maintain a compassionate heart. Be nurturing towards yourself and others. There will be a lot to be gained from seeing things from a practical or down-to-earth perspective when it comes to dealing with others or pertaining to your present circumstances. Focus on creating a balanced life for yourself. Remember that more can be accomplished when you are serene. Be imaginative and helpful. Deal with issues as they arise. Keep your wits about you while you determine the best course of action and seek simple solutions to fix the problem with minimal fuss. Depending on the relationship of the people involved, a hug can symbolize familiarity love, affection, or friendship. A person may hug another in a show of support, comfort, or to console. There is an exchange of energy that takes place as you give and receive at the same time. At the same time. At the same time. I don't know why I want to keep saying at the same time. At the same time. At the same time. Okay, that was that was the last time. Number 38, nurture. It says focus on creating a calm and balanced life for yourself. Basically the same thing. Ganesha asks you to maintain a compassionate, nurturing, realistic, and down to earth attitude when it comes to collaborating with others and your present conditions. Okay. So basically, I pulled a second card because I didn't have enough choice, I guess, the first time, and it's literally the same message. Sorry. You can benefit from being more resourceful and practical. This is a time of slowing down and biding your time and resources. Deal with any issues as they arise and brainstorm practical and easy solutions that will fix the problem with minimal drama. Minimal drama, minimal fuss. Handle the issues as they arise. Be careful of giving too much without regard for your own needs. If you have been feeling exhausted or have been prone to illness, you are invited to stop doing so much for others and do more for you at this time. Do not seek empowerment by doing for others from a place of needing acknowledgement. Empower yourself by nurturing yourself and then, from a healthy place, help others. Learn to nurture and to create occasions for others to grow by offering a safe, accommodating energy. This energy is the energy of the heart chakra. As your life comes more into alignment with your soul purpose, you bring this nurturing and unconditional love beyond your immediate surroundings and out into the world. The female figure in this card is Ganesha's mother, Parvati. She represents a strong female figure in your life that you may look to for extra support and guidance. This could be any female role model, friend, or acquaintance that you find yourself drawn to at this time. Alternatively, Parvati can represent a part of you, a part of yourself, especially when much of your time is spent focusing on the nurturing and caring of others. So there you go, which is a lot of what I was saying. So thank you for the confirmation. And maybe for me, that was just, and maybe for you as well, that was just a little bit of like, sure, we can find something or someone else to come and validate what you just said. Or you could, like, I don't know, trust yourself and in your abilities. And girl, like, you're good, you're Gucci. Like, hello. But again, if you need that reassurance, it is there. But we use it as reassurance purposes, not as assurance purposes. It's reassurance, right? We should already be assured within self, but then we get reassured. Okay, anyway, that's you, Gemini. Now on to Virgo. Virgo. So let's see. Virgo is coming in at 148:30. I had to, hey Virgo, let me speak first. Hello Virgo, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're amazing. I hope you're fantastic. I had to start y'all off at the 30, at the nice clean half. I'm trying to get on Virgo good side a little bit. I'm trying, Virgo. I've actually been doing a lot more sixth house things lately within the past week and a half or so. A lot more intentionally. I'm not the best at keeping up a schedule, but it's been coming up kind of sort of naturally, like, oh, I should do this on a schedule. I should do that on the schedule. I should kind of sort of like not necessarily block out my time, excuse me, but I should use it more consistently to get into a practice, to get into a little bit of routine. And routine can be different for different people depending on how structured we are inclined to be. I'll say it like that. I'll be nice to myself. But anyway, Virgo, enough about me. Let's talk about you. I'm going to start down here for you too, Virgo. What have I been saying to Virgos? What have I been saying to Virgo energy lately? The Phoenix. I love that for Virgo. I was actually talking about the band Phoenix earlier, and I was talking about Lasso being one of my favorite songs. And it's like, where would you go? Where would you go with the lasso? Would you run into? Could you run into? Tell me, would you run into me or something? Where? When is it? When you are where you realize, or when you realize? No, you don't realize what you say yes to. What you say yes to? Now I feel like I need to look up the list. No, I'll just take it. It's like where you realize, and then it's like when you realize what you say yes to. And so maybe there's this energy of like, it feels like really understanding where your energy is going. And it feels like a heat sink, but it's like if you have a circuit or if you have a plant or some kind of operation and you're like, why are the costs so high? Like, why is this not getting enough power? It should be getting all of the power that it needs. Like, the cost shouldn't be this high. And it's like there's an area somewhere along the way where you've been losing a lot of resources. And so on the back end, you've been trying to overcompensate for something. But it's like if you can sort of, maybe there is a little bit of accounting that you need to do within self and within your own life to really understand where all of that energy is going, maybe to rework some things, maybe to pair something up with something else to make it a little bit easier if it's complementary, but also to maybe if you haven't done it before, factor yourself into the equation and to give yourself some energy and some juice and some power because you deserve it. And then it's like when you do that, it positions you to reignite, and it almost feels like Virgo becomes a sun energy that pulls in with your gravitational pull opportunities and blessings and all kinds of things. And it's like it's almost like this energy of like the way you treat yourself is the way that the world is going to treat you. So the better you treat yourself and the more you make yourself a priority, the better your experience will be. That's what it feels like. Tell me why. But we'll see. Up here, oh my goodness. I just dabbed and I don't do that. I'm sorry. I love this energy. Again, like over here, it's one thing. Over here, it's something else. Because up here, you got the eagle. And look, the eagle's got the sun in its talons. The eagle and the phoenix, like, oh, what? The eagle is like, it's divine energy, it's messenger energy, it's also regal. It's like king energy, but it's an aerial king energy. I guess it's king of swords energy, and the king of swords is an owl. But it's like king energy with a higher perspective. And so it's like it's not king energy so concerned with its own kingdom, even though it still serves its own kingdom and it serves the same functions and purposes. It just has a broader perspective. And so what this broader perspective will do is when it comes to growth, one second. All right, I'm back. That happened to Virgo last time, didn't it? It feels like whenever it comes to growth or expansion, this higher insight, it's like it allows you to see more of the board at once. Whereas if you were totally zoomed in and focused on only one thing, there are lots of things that you would miss because you wouldn't see how one thing affects the others. It's like dominoes. Interesting. These are very powerful energies. And it's like, again, it's almost this feeling of like when you do it for self, it shifts and changes everything. And I feel like a lot of this, it's us tackling our own challenges, right? Like Piscean challenges are challenges for Pisces, Sagittarian challenges are challenges for Sagittarius, Gemini challenges are challenges for Gemini, and then Virgonian challenges are challenges for Virgos. And it's not that one is necessarily easier than the other. It's not that one is necessarily better, because what could be bold and bright and beautiful and bodacious and all those wonderful B words, um, for one person, like from the outside, it could be easy to be like, oh man, like look at that. I wish I got all that. But it could be someone's challenge to allow that energy in their life. Like that could be the equivalent to them of what you're going through. And it's like, even though it looks different from the outside, it's this inside thing that we're really working on right now. And so maybe for Virgos, if anyone's cross-watching Virgo, I don't know, or maybe Virgo, this is you to somebody else. It's like from the outside, like again, like we can see how easy it is, but for Virgos, maybe that's one of their biggest challenges, is like being in their own power is, I feel like there's a definition of self by service to others. But it's like now it's time to actually serve self in addition to others, just like what just came out for Gemini. Then we have the Seven of Cups. Oops, oh, okay. If I can hold on to the cards. And then Ten of Wands. So both of these are a little challenging. But honestly, it feels like the challenge here is like putting this actually into practice. It's almost this energy of like when you're so used to giving so much to so many other people, it's getting used to not doing that. And I kind of sort of experienced that a little bit in my life. It's like, okay, I need to focus on myself, and I need to make sure that I'm good, and I need to make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing, and I'm good for a few days, and then I'm like, okay, well, maybe like somebody needs my help, or for me, it could have been a little bit more procrastinating. But I feel like this is sort of getting used to really making yourself a priority and not being so quick to give to everybody else. Now, again, it's not that you can't give anything, but it's that you keep it in balance, right? Balance has been another thing for like everybody. And up here, I feel like other people may view you as this eagle and as like a solar energy. And it's like savior complex just popped into my mind. But it's almost like you have this savior complex because of everyone depending on you and relying on you. And it may not necessarily be as grandiose as an entire savior complex, but it is like they're relying on me for this and they're relying on me for that. And without me, like they wouldn't be able to do this or do that. And like they would be lost in the darkness. And maybe that's how they feel because you've always been there for them. But again, it's like you have to make yourself a priority. Also, I feel like if you are sort of feeling a little bit burdened, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not as dark as it seems. You're almost done rooting through the weeds and you're almost there. It's like keep going. Don't give up now and turn to things that you know don't work for you. Right? It's like stay strong. I feel like you're coming to a resolution point. And it feels like it starts on the inside. And again, I feel like it's kind of short for Virgo. Like that's all I got. I don't really have a lot. That's it. That's it. I don't think Virgo needs it. All right, but y'all's good. I believe in you, Virgo. I believe in the Virgos. And now we'll time the final shuffles. And now I'll time the final shuffles. And now I'll time the final shuffles. I just hope I don't put an animal in the tarot pile and vice versa. I think I've done that before. I was like, oh, I have an animal here. What? Breakfast Club. La la. Don't you forget about me. What is that? I don't know. Don't forget about who? I kid, I joke. I joke. 2:00:59. Yeah, I could have waited until 2 hours and 1 minute, but I didn't. Welcome to the final shuffle. Welcome to the end of the video, where we get the last messages. Anything that needs to be said can come through and be said, just to make sure, you know, we can leave this space. Ooh, the Star and the Five of Swords. I feel like it's like we don't have to necessarily struggle as much. And it's also like we have to get used to living with less opposition and less worry and less fear and less anxiety and stuff like that. And again, it's like if that's all we've known, sometimes it takes a little bit of getting used to. And it's not to get upset or weird that, you know, you seek a little excitement as you're getting used to peace. But, you know, everything within limits, within reason. Right? Hey, there we go. Ace of Cups. Oh, Ace of Cups and the Star. This feels like major heart healing, major sacral healing, major crown, third eye, throat. It feels like everything except the root. It feels like everything except the root has gone through major healing. And so now our challenge is grounding it. Our challenge is, again, it's like getting used to living this new it's a new normal in the sense that like the norms have changed, like our behaviors have changed, what we find acceptable has changed, what we find pleasure in may have changed. And it's like if we may not get out of situations or circumstances what we used to. And depending on your relationships, it may cause a little bit of distance, potentially. But I feel like it's also opening us up to levels of commitment, partnership, friendship, opportunity. It's like everything. Water flows everywhere. It's almost like air, but it actually has weight. And so it's like overflow. It's abundance. It's the things of hopes and dreams. But again, it's like everything has been sort of worked on and overhauled except the root, which is our ability to ground it and to maintain it and to live in it. And like even the root, I feel like has been worked on. But again, it's like until you live that life, you can only do so much, right? When it's theory, that's one thing, but putting it into practice is something completely different. Enjoy. Bottom of the deck is the devil, with the Hierophant behind it and the Seven of Pentacles behind that. So yeah, this is definitely an energy of old energies, maybe tempting you. And maybe that's why I prefaced everything by saying, like, you know, when we're getting used to the new, maybe we'll seek or crave a little bit of excitement. And I feel like there's going to be a period of like, where it's like, yeah, this is something that I used to enjoy, but now it's like, I don't even, it's just like not it. We might have to try it a few times before we're just like, yeah, this isn't as good as it used to be. They changed the menu. The ingredients aren't as fresh as they used to be. The chefs, the cooks in the back are gone. Now we're just microwaving frozen food. And if I was going to microwave something frozen, I could have got that from the store and did that at home type of energy. But I feel like what it's really going to do is actually it's going to cement, like that's going to be what gets us to really ground this stuff in. And so I would say don't necessarily be it's like don't be too concerned about it. It's like don't freak out. Don't psych yourself out of whatever. Don't overthink it. Don't overanalyze. Just accept and flow and go with it. Right? Now don't go all the way back and completely abandon what you've been working for. But again, it's your life. I guess you can do whatever you want to do. But I feel like it's, you know, you don't necessarily have to worry about being perfect or finding this or that or whatever. It'll come. It'll come. It will come. It will flow. Just like the stars come and go in the sky as the world turns. These are the days of our lives. Today is the first day of the best days of your life. You ain't seen nothing yet. That's an old song. You ain't seen nothing yet. Today is the first day of the best days of your life. Or something like that. Oh, wow. Hawk. I actually saw Hawk a lot with Dragonfly. This to me feels like the energy of something long promised and guaranteed. Guaranteed, okay. I mean, guaranteed just came out of my mouth, but it's the energy of something long promised. But it's like when it was promised or guaranteed, it's like that energy of like when you know that something is going to require work, but it's like really, really good. And it's like it requires more work than you thought it would. And so you're like, man, like, good, like this is a lot. Goodness. Like this is a lot. But then again, it's like you know it'll be worth it in the end. But then sometimes it's almost like that, how bad do I actually want it type of energy. Now the Falcon is all about, no, the Hawk is all about, let me think. I looked it up, the difference between Hawks and Falcons. Falcons dive, right? So they go head first. And Hawks go down talons first. The Peregrine Falcon and the Kettle Hawk. Yeah. So the Peregrine Falcon is the fastest animal on the planet. It has diving speeds that are insane, but they dive head first. Now the Kettle Hawk is also really fast, but it's about precision and they go down feet first. And so when you go down feet first, like that eagle card, like the sun and the eagle, if you checked out the Virgo card, I guess, like you can pick it up with your talons and keep flying, right? Instead of like, I don't know, what happens when you dive into something head first that fast? It gives you a little bit more of an element of control with this. And with the Dragonfly here, it's like it's guaranteed. It's like it's promised, but it's not guaranteed type of energy, right? Because it's like you could choose to not, like you always have free will, you always have choice. So you could choose to not do it. But the Hawk, it very much so feels like where it's like hermit energy where you can only see to the edge of your lantern. And that's as fast as we're going. It's like we can only see in front of our face. But we don't have to let that be the reason why we move slowly through this, right? Like we can still, if we have the trust and the faith, we can still navigate and operate at a fairly decent pace, right? It's like blindness is not an excuse. Blindness doesn't have to be a limitation. And then there's the keeper at the cut. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a limitation, but it can be, and justifiably so. The lovers and the keeper justifiably can be an excuse or a reason. It's a valid reason, but it doesn't have to stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us. Cats don't dance. Okay, work. Two of Wands, the discerning one with the Three of Wands, the politic at the bottom of the deck. Now, the politic is about collective vision, whereas the kindred is a little bit more individual. But with the discerning one in the politic, it's like the discerning politician would be the one who it's like, it's almost this energy of like when you're outside of a situation, it looks a certain way. And so there is a fair amount that but when you get in that situation, then your understanding grows. And it's like, it's almost this energy of like, I can see why people fall where they fall, or I could see how people could be tempted by this, or I could see how people could be intimidated by this. I could see why a lot of other people would quit. I could see why the turnover rate is so high. But I also know that I can navigate through this intact and maybe blaze some kind of trail. I don't know. It's the Two of Wands. It's kind of sort of the unexplored heroically. And then the Three of Wands is there, which is about continuation. But sometimes it can involve factors that are a little bit outside of our control. Right? It's like waiting for your ships to come in. It's like, but you still have to be at the dock when your ship arrives. Like you can't be waiting for your ship to come in 15,000 miles inland and not even going to meet the ship when it gets there. And I feel like this is also a need to remember what it is that we've learned and to keep it with us as we navigate, because we don't want to lose anything. Like we learned the things that we learned for a reason, and it'll make us strong. Not only strong, it'll put us in a position to navigate this in a way that's like I feel like it makes things a lot easier and simpler. And then last but not least, we got number 4, which is the element of fire. Fire is the sight, fire is the vision, fire is the breath that warms our palms when it's cold outside. Fire is another fluid element, but where water nourishes, fire destroys. But in its wake, it leaves the ash, which is the fertilizer for what's to come later. And it takes me back to the phoenix, right? But it's like we're fertilizing ourselves. And so we choose whether or not we're going to allow these transformations to take place. We choose whether or not we allow the past to motivate us moving forward in the future, or if it keeps us defeated. And again, it feels like we choose sort of the pace and the rate at which we go, even if we don't consciously do any of that. At some level, we have that choice. And that's what I got. I hope everyone has a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it even better, because every time lately I want to say, like, with popsicle, it's possible. Anybody remember those old popsicle commercials? Because it's all possible. And more than possible, it's like it's happening for those who are so inclined and aligned. So I will catch y'all later whenever I catches. Bye.